I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and feet. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
The Russell Wilson trade rumors were one of the biggest subjects and one of the most talked about things this past offseason. Now, Russell Wilson did not necessarily request a trade from the Seattle Seahawks, but his agent did tell Adam Schefter that if it were a trade to happen, that he would consider only 4 teams: the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Saints, and the Bears. Now, looking back on it, should the Seattle Seahawks regret keeping Russell Wilson and not trading him this offseason? Now, Russell Wilson has voiced his frustration with the Seattle Seahawks organization with some of the personnel moves that they have made throughout the course of their roster, and him not being able to have as much input on the offense and how the offense goes as much as he would like, being the franchise quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks have struggled, especially up front with the offensive line and protecting Russell Wilson, and him being one of the most sacked quarterbacks throughout the course of his career, and him taking a ton of hits from dodging pressure and also taking some hits using his athletic ability as a weapon. Now, watching this Seattle Seahawks team, especially on offense, one thing is evident, that the running game has been a hit or miss throughout the course of Russell Wilson's career, and mainly after Marshawn Lynch has departed. Chris Carson has been a very good back, but he has struggled to stay healthy throughout the course of his career, and Rashad Penny has not been the draft choice that they turned out to be. The offensive line has had its inconsistencies in pass protection, which led to Russell Wilson taking so many hits. Now, you do have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, who have been mainstays on this offense, but watching this Seattle Seahawks offense, they failed to really get consistency because the offensive line has not been very good. And also, the defensive side of the ball, the Seattle Seahawks tend to struggle there too. Now, coming in at Week 10, they are ranked 9th in points against, but one problem with the Seattle Seahawks defense is that they do not create as many turnovers, and they are definitely a ways away from that Legion of Boom days with Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas back there in the secondary. Now, Jamal Adams is one of the better safeties in the league, but one of the weaknesses in Jamal Adams' game has been pass coverage. And one of the weaknesses on the Seattle Seahawks defense is pass rush, and they do not necessarily create or generate as much pass rush as they would need for this defense to not be attacked deep and not be attacked in a passing game. Now, watching the Seattle Seahawks team now at 3-6, especially in the loaded NFC West, where you have the Arizona Cardinals, who are one of the top teams, you have the LA Rams, who are one of the top teams, and are adding pieces like Odell Beckham and Von Miller to add to their team. And you have San Francisco, even though the 49ers are a little bit of a struggle themselves, they are still one of the stronger teams in the NFC West. And looking at Seattle, they're sitting at last place in the division. Should the Seattle Seahawks regret not trading Russell Wilson this offseason? Now, I personally believe that the Seahawks should have some regret in not trading Russell Wilson this offseason. Now, I'll say that, and Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Russell Wilson is one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the league, and he has been carrying the Seattle Seahawks franchise ever since the Legion of Boom defense has started to go slowly down. The Russell Wilson effect and the let Russ cook effect has gone up. I believe that the Seattle Seahawks have some regret and should have some regret in not trading Russell Wilson. Reasons that I believe that the Seattle Seahawks should have some regret in not trading Russell Wilson is that his value was at an all-time high this past offseason. When you had quarterback desperate teams such as the Chicago Bears, such as the Carolina Panthers, such as the Denver Broncos, even though the Panthers and the Broncos were not a team on this list, you can even throw the New Orleans Saints, who were quarterback desperate this offseason after the retirement of Drew Brees. His value would have been at an all-time high because, number one, he was been absolutely durable throughout the course of his career. Despite all the hits that he has taken, he has not missed a single start in his NFL career into this season. He has been durable, and he has been carrying the Seattle Seahawks offense for the past couple of seasons. And a guy like him and a quarterback like him can really carry your franchise into the next level. Now, you had teams like the Bears and you had teams like the Saints that were on his list that were quarterback needy and desperate for a quarterback. And I think if the Seahawks would have taken a trade offer from either of those teams, it could have yielded maybe at least 3 first-round picks, maybe even a solid player. They could have gotten a ton of value for Russell Wilson. And getting a ton of value for Russell Wilson isn't hard, especially with his dynamics, especially with his arm talent. His ability to throw the deep ball would have been very valuable to the Saints or to the Bears, and they would have given up a huge haul for Seattle. Now, Seattle, looking at them this season, is definitely not a playoff team. Even with Russell Wilson coming back off of the middle finger injury, the Seattle Seahawks have too many injuries along their offensive line, along their running back positions, along their defense, and it is starting to show in the past couple of weeks, especially in the shutout loss this past week to the Green Bay Packers and a loss to the New Orleans Saints. You lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Rams. They had a 3-game losing streak, and even before the Russell Wilson injury, this Seattle Seahawks team was struggling to win football games. So that is going to drive Russell Wilson's frustration with this football team even more, because we all know how competitive Russell Wilson is. We all know that he has to drive to win. We all know he is one of the more competitive quarterbacks in the NFL. And he has voiced his frustration with some of the things that has been going on throughout the course of the Seattle Seahawks organization. Now, they did give a big contract to Jamal Adams this past offseason. You have contract extensions coming up on DK Metcalf. You have a contract to Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson for a new deal. The problem with the Seattle Seahawks roster is that it is not heavily invested in your offensive line, which has been the struggle point for the Seattle Seahawks offense the past couple of seasons, and which is why Russell Wilson has been taking so many hits and has been frustrated with the Seattle Seahawks organization. Because offensively, this team has the potential to be one of the best offenses in the league. With the weapons of DK Metcalf and his ability, Lockett, if Chris Carson can stay healthy, Alex Collins has proven to be a really solid back out of the backfield. But the biggest problem with the Seattle Seahawks offense is the offensive line. And the more hits that Russell Wilson is taking, and the time that he missed this season due to a middle finger injury, due to them not necessarily protecting him well in pass protection, that is going to elevate his frustration even more. I believe at the end of this season, do not be surprised if Russell Wilson actually ups his demand and actually requests a trade from the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are not necessarily a bad roster by any means. It's just a frustration that Russell Wilson has voiced and has had the past couple of seasons with the trenches that they are struggling with both the offense and the defensive lines. And also the fact of they have a lot of salary cap issues coming up, and Russell Wilson is getting paid a ton of money on his own right, and they are not investing in offensive line like they should be. So his frustrations with this Seattle Seahawks football team could be and could elevate to an all-time high. So the Seattle Seahawks maybe should have some regret not trading Russell Wilson because of the draft picks they could have attained and build towards their future and get a quarterback of their future. And also because this team as constructed right now and how they've been playing is not a playoff team. And there have even been rumors about Pete Carroll not coming back after this season or retiring very soon. And will Russell Wilson actually sit in Seattle and them maybe possibly going through a rebuild, and will he sit there and struggle with that? I do not believe so, and which is why I think it could be a possibility that after this offseason that Russell Wilson requests a trade from the Seattle Seahawks. But that is all I have for you guys. Make sure you guys leave this video a like. Comment your thoughts down below. Do you believe that the Seahawks have some regret or should have some regret of not trading Russell Wilson this offseason? And as always, click that subscribe button and notification bell so you can not miss a single video on my channel. But that is all I've got. APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.